reality is, the more risk you take, the luckier you get. So people need to learn to take one big risk a day. You know, every day take a risk and build up that risk muscle, because risk is where success comes.
Risk must be taken for the greatest. Hazard in life is to risk nothing.
Take the biggest fucking risks of your entire life right now. Remember, you have time.
I think that most people, the reason that they lack success in their life is that they lack the courage to make the decisions that need to be made to put them in the position that they want to be in.
You can get so scared, and you can be so easily lulled into the idea that good is good enough, that feeling safe and comfortable is what you should always be looking for. That way of thinking, in your 20s in particular, dead fucking wrong. I want you to start to create this mindset of taking risks and going big.
Taking risk and going big. That's what life's all about. But we can take a very calculated risk that we're going to talk about today. Oh, yeah. We're going to cover it today. Welcome to the channel, guys. Don't forget to smash those like buttons. If you're on Kick, well, you might not be on Kick. I only got literally 2 followers over there. So if you're on YouTube, links in the description to my Kick stream. Follow me there. I enjoy it over there. I enjoy it on Kick. Get a lot of cool content creators over there. So follow me there. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. Drop a comment. Like and subscribe. You know the drill. Now on X, it's important. All of you guys that come on here today, make sure you go to, I just tweeted about the live stream being live. We're talking now, live and direct. So make sure you retweet. Hit the like button over there, show some love. And always remember, I'm not a financial advisor. For damn not sure, not a professional. This is cryptocurrency. You got to do that research. You got to do that research. Always remember, don't ever allow an influencer on any social media platform out there to influence you when it comes to crypto, because you could lose it all. All right? Let's see who's here. Naguga, what's up, bro? Welcome for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Chantel Inspires TV, where have you been? It's been a while since I've seen you. I hope all is well. Jared Perry 14, yeah, dog. Have you seen Jim Rat's live stream lately about the Richard Heart ecosystem? What is your opinion about it? I feel like I've said a lot of things that he has said in just a less like harsh environment. You know, like I've broken it down to you guys on why Ethereum has been diluted. I have broken it down for you guys as to the issue with new users to PulseChain. And I have broken down, you know, the entire thing about Ethereum and technologies and how that affects PulseChain, ultimately it being a leverage. But I think when he talks, he's talking like direct to Richard Hart, like, you wrecked me, you caused me to get wrecked, where I'm like, hey man, like, lost a lot of money, but it's my fault, you know? So seems sour, whatever, man. Like, I don't know the dude like that. I only watched some of the stuff that people were saying about him and what he was saying. It is what it is. It's his opinion. Anyone can go on camera and talk about that. So you just got to respect the guy for having the cojones to go out there and say what he feels, because at the end of the day, if that's what he feels and he's expressing it, all the power to him, you know? You gotta do what you gotta do. Chantel Inspires TV. The kids are out of college. All right. Let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin really quick here. We got some pretty strong volatility today in the markets. That's for sure. Bitcoin right now, look at that. Would you look at that? $104,169 Bitcoin. Again, we're more concerned on what's going on with Ethereum. What are you doing, ETH? What's going on, ETH? $2,501 Ethereum, only down $9 for the day. But to the most important asset, you know, outside of ETH, obviously we want ETH to take off, and most of us believe that PulseChain is a leverage of Ethereum. Right, so PulseChain right now, man, taking a hit, 4 zeros and a 265. PulseX, 4 zeros and a 222. Inc, $1.44. Hex 2 zeros and a 527. I love that price right now. And we're going to get into that because I'm super mega bullish, always have been on eHEX and HEX, right? We're going to talk about that and just talk about the time frames that we have the privilege to take advantage of, which I think everybody, if you look back once upon a time prior to the 10,000x story, everyone who missed it probably always thought, daydreamt about like, man, what if I was able to get into HEX, the launch month of December 2019, where I bought early January 2020, during the big COVID scare. Everyone is always like probably daydreamed or dreamt or either lived that. I wish you can go back and either repeat history with those gains or go back and have invested, right? And I look at the opportunity right now, the dip with actual eHEX, and understand there's a few things that happen that really allow history to repeat itself on a big scale like that once again. Because you got to remember, there was no PulseChain, there was no PulseX, there was no ink. It was eHEX, Ethereum HEX. That is the core main token, in my honest opinion. Now, people can argue and say RH killed it with the payments. The market has chosen eHEX. A lot of people read between the lines and thought, hey, he's killing eHEX. He wants PHEX to evolve, which is the free copy, PRC20 copy of the original eHEX, Ethereum X, over on PulseChain. But we've seen conversations that he's had about this prior to the launch of PulseChain, where he's like, I don't want to see HEX cheap on anywhere. I don't want to see it cheap on Ethereum. I don't want to see it cheap on PulseChain. So speculation has always been like, why can't those two reach parity? And if they do, when and where and at what price would they meet? RH is posting workout routines. How does this help his projects? I had a conversation about that last night with somebody, and it was interesting, the theory behind it and what he is showing in those hidden messages. Now, I'm not going to discuss that because it wasn't my brain that put that together. So I'm not going to sit here and act like, hey, I thought of this. No, I talked to a very intelligent person who happens to be a developer who's very smart, and sees between the lines, sees the hidden messages of what Richard Hart is actually talking about when it comes to those tweets. So I've been actively going on there and looking to put that piece together. And that right there in itself is the 7D chess, the high IQ form of Richard Hart, if that's in fact what's going on. Because I would imagine other people are speculating there's a hidden message there as well. Or he could just be working out and posting it. I don't know, but really doesn't matter what he's doing because it's our chain, right? So we're under the impression that we got to sit back, relax, and let RH take care of the rest. It's always been the community. The community has been in shambles. Let's take a look, though. Let me cut this off for a second. Let me cut the music off. Music off. All right. I have to go back in time. I lived during that 10,000x experience. I was in HEX December 2019. I was buying the hell out of it in early January 2020. Made a lot of money, life-changing money with HEX. I put a lot of good use to it too in the outside world. Bought my first home, paid a lot of money to the IRS, a lot, right? So I had to rebuild after I used all my riches from HEX, and I went into DeFi on Binance Smart Chain and hit big again. Took money out, IRS, cost of living. It's been years I've been doing this, and so PulseChain took a big part of my investment to get into the sacrifice, which I had to wait a couple years for. Or I think it was a year, just about almost 2 years. I forget how long it was exactly, but on top of that, still continuing to try and survive the bear market that came shortly after that big spike in DeFi. I got to go back in time and watch content of RH just to remind myself not only what he did for me, but the situation we were in at the time with the markets, the liquidity, and all that good stuff. And things are different now. Ethereum is way, way, way more expensive than it was when HEX first came out. Uniswap wasn't even popular. But I also need to remember who I'm dealing with as far as the founder and realize maybe I'm not getting the price that I want right now, because there are cycles and levels to this of understanding what part of the cycle you're in, right? And Richard has always been very transparent about this. All right. I think this is the only founder in all of crypto, and I think you'll find it in the FAQs as well, about how much cryptocurrency actually dips, right? Have you ever been to a crypto website for anything in CeFi, DeFi, made by any founder who tells you like point blank, like, hey, cryptocurrencies are known to go down drastically. They're volatile. It's usually like founders like I'm building and they want the FOMO, they want the investment. They want you to feel like you're making the ultimate decision that's going to be a lifetime of gains and opportunity if you don't get in. Let me take a look where it's at. I know it's always been like straight up on the website right when you come here. He talks about cryptocurrencies and the volatility. And he's always been upfront about these things with his community and his people. So us seeing that, front and center for all this time since we've been around, right, in crypto, you should know better, right? And it talks about this too here. Look at it. Gives a breakdown of my late to buy HEX. And this happened to be put together a long time ago. But I want to talk about the risk here he talks about. All right. Too risky. Like, this isn't in the FAQs of hex.com. And somebody said it needs to be updated. Yeah, it hasn't been touched for a long time. Imagine how risky it was to buy Bitcoin when it was only a year old at a penny. It's been as high as $69,000. Everything dips in price. The S&P 500, the Index 500, and the largest companies in the United States dipped 36% in 2020. On its way to 6.5 million X returns in 12 years, the Bitcoin price dipped 94%, 95%, 81%, 86%, which is all true. I sat during those dips and, it didn't feel good, but it didn't hurt me because I was in so early, right? Then I was like, I'm up a lot, but if you're a first cycle person where you got in, where, let's say you bought at 10, like Richard talks about, and it goes to 30 and you write it back down, you're like, oh my God. But then over time you win. Some exchanges, it flash crashed as close to $0 as possible. Amazon dropped 95% once too. Now it handles 50% of all internet sales in the USA. You look back when Amazon did that 50% correction or dip, I don't think anybody would ever imagine at that time. It was probably the most fearful thing to be in. Like, you're sick to your stomach. You're like, do something, Bezos. Like, Bezos sucks because you're down, right? Did you ever think that it would handle? And that was a 95% dip. I'm sorry. A 95% dip. You're thinking, Bezos sucks. Why did I buy this Amazon stock? They're not going anywhere, loser. Because you want something to be done now. You want to go from being down 95% to being up at least 5% of break even so you can get out. That's the truth. So the people who capitulated, I'm sure it was a very, very easy decision, which became the worst decision of their life. Later, as time passed and things developed, and then you have to deal with the reality that 50% of all the internet sales in the USA went through Amazon. It's probably even higher now. Then we go to the first year of HEX price. Dipped 81%, 73%, 59%, 67%, and 87%. And then it went to make a new all-time high after these dips. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dips in a row. of like big, gnarly, volatile numbers. Price dips are often opportunities for the impatient to give their money to the patient. HEX large price movements up and down are featured, not a bug. People who buy tops and sell bottoms hand their money to those who buy bottoms and sell tops. He gave you the blueprint, the ultimate blueprint up front. The only founder to ever done this in the entire history of cryptocurrency, which says, "Hey, look, I got a crypto for you. It's reason why it's not security, reason why it's the best thing since sliced bread. This is how it works. But guess what? You are going to go through some tough times. You are going to go through some volatility. And the volatility is the price you pay for mad games." That's a quote that has been said famously by Richard Hart. You got to remember, he has prepared you for these moments like these. So do you want to be shocked? Do you want to be surprised? Are you shocked? Are you surprised? Or are you thinking, this is a part of the game? This is part of a written story that he already wrote up and told you this will happen in all of cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin. So now if you have that data through somebody who's been in this a long time, who pointed it out on all the dips, all the way to the S&P 500, to Amazon on a 95% dip, said it's going to happen with his own token, and then you get a drastic dip, you've been down for a while, now you're in that position like Amazon, 95% dip, but then what does the future hold? Something special, right? Something special can happen here. Something special, I believe, will happen here. Now is not the time. And the transition of wealth will take place. You will give your backs willingly, because you desperately want to get out, to somebody who would love to buy it for cheaper. And that's the whole PvP of cryptocurrency. It's a game of chicken. Who could hold the longest? And whoever sells out is a proof of we can right there. And they're willing to sell to you at a discount or for a loss. However, some of you will make it to sell your bags at the next peak, and there will be somebody to buy that token for a premium later. It always happens. Someone always loses and buys the tops, right? But understand who you're dealing with here and who has to explain that. And there is no different scenario that's going to play out in any other cryptocurrency. But when you got HEX that's been around, we're talking December 2019, guys. All right. This is 5+ years in the making. Right? Richard's not going anywhere. Now he has an ecosystem that supports a free copy, a PRC20 version of eHEX, referred to as PulseChain, and you can bridge and have them both over on the same side and pay low fees when it comes to gas and transactions in comparison to Ethereum. He has built his own layer one. So when that layer one token outside of PHEX and eHEX happens to be Pulse and PulseX and Inc., you already should know Richard Hart has put this together for you on multiple dips that have happened in real world stocks, companies, and even his own token HEX and Bitcoin. He drew it up for you. So you should have that mindset and go, maybe think about it and go and look at the history books of any investment. What was going on when it was at its worst? How long did it take until it went from its worst to its best? What could you have done if you had bought or held? And just tell yourself, I don't want to be that good person that sells. So being someone who has made a lot, millions, came back in, lost hundreds of thousands, down hundreds of thousands, made hundreds of thousands, now I'm back down. Anytime I've taken a loss in this ecosystem is because I lost sight of the things he had already taught me. And I had already made more money than I ever made just by holding his token and staking it and having enough liquid for the top of the cycles. So ultimately, it's a hard lesson learned because it's easier said than done, but you got to go back and remind yourself. And we're going to watch a clip here. Let's see who's in the comments. I bought HEX, staked for 15 years. I've only experienced nothing but the price trending towards zero. Who should I tell first? My favorite frequently asked question. Wait, what? I bought HEX, staked for 15 years, and only experienced nothing but the price trending towards zero. If you staked for 15 years, if you got in early, you made a lot of HEX. And you got a free copy too. So you have some on both sides of the fence. Let me see. What else are you saying? Should I wait for the price to go lower to get in? Really, that's up to you, right? If you believed in HEX to do a 15-year stake, I mean, I believed in HEX. I was a Richard Hard Maxi. I didn't do straight up. I did ladder stakes from 30 days to 90, 120 to a year, 2 year, 3 or 4 year stakes. If you did a 15-year stake, you must be a real hard believer. But that wasn't something that I was going to participate in on a large scale. The stakes I did for 15 years, I'm not losing sleep over because it's not a whole lot. I bought it for dirt cheap. Like I used to buy millions of HEX for when it first came out. We used to call it Satoshis, but back when I first bought HEX, it was like 7 Satoshis a token or something like that, right? So you're not going to catch me complaining about a 15-year stake because it cost me nothing and I got a double copy and big payday. So, I mean, if you really did a 15-year stake, you got a lot of HEX for when it goes up. But even if HEX goes to $5 right now, let's say HEX goes to $5 in the next 6 months, you got to hold. You're in a 15-year stake. So you made your bet. You got to lay in it. Unfortunately, hopefully you have something liquid to show for it so you can get some gains. But that's everyone's decision, right? Everyone did different things. I had the misfortune of watching RH brag about the size of his on stream with some underage girl, crypto teen or something. And that honestly shook my faith in him. He's a man. Sometimes men say raunchy stuff. I don't think that I don't get bothered by that stuff. I come from like, yeah, I don't. If he had done anything else, like, nah, I'm not bothered by it. It is what it is. Richard does some way out there stuff. So I'm gonna go here and play this clip. I've just a reminder to myself, guys. Right? Like I watch these things and remember, like, what was it that I was doing at the time that kept me holding versus now and what was going on then? Richard was streaming a lot. So that confidence that entire time of holding during that 10,000X, literally I could pull up a live stream every week when I got off work and I would be, on a Friday drinking some beer and going, let me watch a Richard Hart stream, an old one or a new one, but there was always content. And every time I would be sitting there drinking a beer watching, I would be positive and buying more HEX because he built that confidence. So it's very like extremely difficult at this time to have that type of confidence. Okay. And shout out, don't forget, guys, to the sponsor of this week's live stream before we get into the video, Dexfi over on Base, home of the JP Morgan stable token, right? Go to dexfi.com/bonds. 3,442 total have been minted. $754,407 worth of ETH has been spent to get a piece of the Treasury bond action here, where you can earn 98.60% right now by just holding that NFT over on Base in USDC. So let's work our way back. Let's watch this video and see, what Richard says, because again, I gained confidence from watching these. I've done this before on streams where we watched them. I think it's interesting to go back and kind of build confidence and understand, like, okay, this guy's really smart. Not only is he really smart, but he built a flawless operation. As far as HEX has had nothing but just price appreciation, price go up, price go down. That's what crypto does. There's never been a hack. There's never been any flaws in the code or anything like that. That's what you got to appreciate the most. And when you're in crypto, you either got the patience or you don't, right? Even if you had it before, doesn't mean you're going to have it later because situations change. So let's take a listen. I really like this part too that we're going to tune into.
Very small inflation after. Less than 3.69, which is lower than Bitcoin ever had on its run up to 20,000. So it's a really big deal. And, you know, the adoption amplifier that is minted about 1.3. I mean, if you look at if you're 350 days into a launch phase and you've got 460B supply, you've got over 1 billion coins that were being minted a day. Well, that goes away. There's no more billion coins a day minting. So any buy pressure that the adoption amplifier may have been absorbing by taking a lot of ETH in, it's not going to be able to do that anymore because it's not going to exist anymore. Which means if people want to buy, they got to buy in the open market, and it's going to affect the price. You know, the adoption amplifier used to be able to get in early, put a lot of ETH in there, and you're not going to move the price against yourself. But if you try and get in on ETHEX.com, which is a front end for Uniswap, you're going to push the price hard, right? So the way the price movements work is, you know, there's $7 million of Ethereum sitting in there, maybe 7.5. I have to look. Like, you go to uniswap.info and click, you know, the ETHEX pair and see the real time, or you can go to uniswap.vision and look at.
You're hearing about Uniswap, and Uniswap was like brand spanking new. He put it on the map, but talking about pretty much the $7.5 million of Ethereum in liquidity for eHEX, right? And that's what we saw and why we experienced major gains. We'll go back to that clip, but let's go look at eHEX right now over on PulseChain. And its biggest pair right now as far as liquidity is eHEX and HEX from Ethereum. Like this pair right here, there's eHEX with wrapped Pulse, and there's eHEX and paired with HEX from Ethereum. So this is the biggest pool right here, eHEX paired with HEX over on PulseChain. Only $727,000 worth of liquidity on this side, right? There's not the 7.5 million that there was when that BitBoy video came out. And this is like before Big Payday. You got to remember. There was doubles on doubles on doubles on doubles. There was ultimately a 10,000x. So the liquidity is so thin at this point where an investment in eHEX, if I look at it, if I wanted to experience crazy gains again, like I originally did, I go the OG route with eHEX because the liquidity is 10x less the size of what it was when this video here aired, which he's talking about it, and HEX continued to go crazy parabolic because the LP was so thin, right? That's the opportunity, really, is the liquidity. You don't make money on market cap. You make money. That's always been a fugazi, right? You actually make money on the price and the per unit, and market cap reflects absolutely nothing. But the liquidity being thin or thick determines the price action and how quick it can go up or down. Let's continue to tune in here.
With the price chart, and it's literally at the top of the price chart. He hacked it to show the real-time liquidity on both sides. So if you double the amount of ETH that's in there, if you put in 7,000 extra ETH, which is like, I don't know, $7-8 million, you'll quadruple the price. If you add 2 extra units of ETH, triple it, you'll 9x the price.
Boom. Do you hear that? You hear that right there? Double, triple the price. He's talking about more LP going in. And when more LP goes in, based off, the amount of ETH that goes in to buy eHEX at the time, how many multiples of X's you get? Listen closely.
If you add 3 extra units of ETH and quadruple it, you'll 16x the price. It moves as a square. And we've seen people, there was a guy, I call him, I think it was the God Whale, but it might have been another guy. There was a guy that doubled the HEX price in a single order by just putting a 10,000 ETH market buy-in on Uniswap, and it didn't come back. The price didn't retrace. It kept going. Yeah. And that's not movement that I was used to, as a trader, to see the price just straight double and keep going. You're like, no pullback? Okay. Like, this is crazy, right?
X had some interesting over the last 340 some odd days.
So 340 some odd days is where they were during this interview, right below the first 1-year birthday of HEX and Big Payday coming out, which after Big Payday, there was a massive dump that happened, which was like the second big opportunity, or the biggest opportunity to come our way in the form of a dip after that happened. It's interesting because I remember HEX like stalled out with new users. There was a lot of people that were going in, and there was a lot of recycling going on. And what brought the new users literally was the green candles of continuing to go up and double and double and double and double in price. So people were chasing that, just like they were chasing everything else in DeFi, ETH price going up, Bitcoin. So people do chase green candles. The easy thing about this, though, it was on Ethereum. Now we're over on PulseChain, and people are kind of exhausted with losses, and it's really hard to get new users. So how will that respond in this new environment on a new chain known as PulseChain? We'll see. But basically, Richard, if everybody's speculation of the SAC funds is going to be the one to come over to increase these prices, pump our bags, that's an easy indicator that a mix of SAC funds plus people that are buying because prices are moving and the market's going up collectively will be a massive opportunity for eHEX once again. And of course, the free copy known as PHEX as well. We look at the price of eHEX right now, it's 2 zeros and a 1652, right? Great buying opportunity. And HEX, 2 zeros and a 53. I thought it would revisit 2 zeros and a 3. Right now, and we'll go back to the clip, I'm super bullish on buying all the way from these prices right now on both eHEX and HEX as being the biggest opportunity in all of PulseChain, right? Mostly eHEX I'm most bullish on. Buying these prices and DCA all the way down to, I think the max it'll go down will be 2 zeros and a 3 for PHEX, and then 2 zeros and like a 1 5 1 3 for eHEX. Buying from today on all the way down to those numbers, I can do that all day long. I'm going to find opportunity there. I'm not a financial advisor, remember, but that's where my opportunity in my window is, and that's why I'm talking about it, because I like all these other ecosystems. Don't get me wrong. I'm heavy into OG. I like OG WebShep, but everything ultimately stems down to I need more Pulse. I want to make money on this blockchain. And I have my favorite cores, and that happens to be eHEX and HEX right now, preferably eHEX. But I'm going to buy a ton of PHEX as well, and I always have, because I think they both have the low liquidity and the opportunity. And eHEX being the first Richard Hart token, it's like a must, needs to succeed scenario. Let's push play.
At first, when it launched, the price went way up and then dropped back down. Now it's kind of returned to, I think, higher than where it was.
Oh yeah, before, I mean, right? we're up. If you bought January 5th, you went up 263x versus the dollar, 100 something x versus Bitcoin, like 80x or 90x versus Ethereum. We're talking about life changing. There's a guy that put in $750, pulled out 35K or 30K, paid off his student loans. Sent me the best thank you video I've ever received. You know, he's crying, talking about how HEX like saved his family, and it's just like, God damn, you're like, okay, this is real. And I get more and more of these videos all the time with people that are really pulling out big amounts of cash. And the reason that they're able to do that is because these massive giant whales are buying up supply and locking it for 15 years, which lets everyone else eat. When a giant whale comes in and buys, I mean, there's a guy that's got like 2.5 billion staked for 10 years. There's another guy, I think they're related because they've got the coins from the same address, the Genesis block of when Ethereum launched. This guy bought basically a billion HEX, staked it for 15 years. You can't, you're in, you are in, you cannot get out. Like, you are locked in. You cannot get out.
That's pretty crazy to stake anything in crypto for 15 years, I think.
Yeah.
I don't want to stake anything for a year ever.
I don't know of any financial instrument, even in legacy, that has that mechanic where you are in and you cannot get out.
And remember what he just said, those big whales buying all that HEX and staking it long term allows for other people to eat, right? what just happened in the past few months, going a few months back, the OA address started scooping up a ton of HEX, or staking a ton of HEX, right? For the long term. We're talking 15-year stakes, 10-year, 5-year stakes, long-term stakes. A lot of people looked at it as like, oh, we're getting diluted and all that stuff for the short-term periods if you want to stake, which is true. Like 30-day stakes are no longer like something you're going to bank on. You could have. Right before PulseChain launched, it was like $10,000 a month for me. I was making in HEX rewards for 30-day rolling stakes. I think I was like 12.5 million plus eHEX, right? So that was the good old days. However, let's see, bullish on eHEX, even if the gas fees are high. eHEX is on PulseChain. I buy eHEX on PulseChain. Remember, it can be bridged over. So I buy eHEX, the copy, I buy what's been bridged over from Ethereum to PulseChain. I buy eHEX there. And I buy the free copy on PulseChain, which is pHEX, all right? So, and that's where all the liquidity is for eHEX right now on PulseChain, not actual Ethereum. So you got to remember that. Let's go take a look at the prices of these bad boys right now too. So we just got a big green candle. Somebody coming in. Look at that $8,000 buy. This person picked up a 1.5 million pHEX, $8,200. It's like a discount. It's a good discount price right now. See if anyone's buying eHEX. Looks like we're getting some buys coming in too, across the board on PulseChain. I'm more bullish on eHEX and HEX, more pHEX more than anything out of the cores, you know. Where do I have the other cores listed really quick? Let's see, Wrapped Pulse going down hard. Look at that. Down almost 10% today. Insane. Discount Central. On target, on time, right? Well, we talked about this. I predicted these things that were going to happen as far as the prices going down right about this time of the month. And I figure I'm going to continue to be able to buy these dips all the way. I picture this. Like I manifested it. I pictured myself buying now the dips all the way up until July 4th. When I'm with my family, kicking back, I want to know that I spent these last few weeks buying the bottoms. And I know that when I'm on the 4th of July, I'm going to be watching these fireworks, celebrating another year of the 4th of July with the family and going, man, on target, on time. I was right about what was going to happen. And I'm going to be right about this time and this window of opportunity I'm going to have until I'm going to be on the 4th of July relaxing. And I'm using the 4th of July as a day where I'm going to not be around my computer, not buying, not selling. But I would have already taken care of it during that window of opportunity that I said we're going to bottom out in this ecosystem, okay? And this ecosystem will probably bottom out before, you know, anything else does, whether it's like any other chain. We'll reach our bottoms first, hit it one last time, and then start to curve back up. And August will start to be the beginning of moving forward and moving onward and upward, and you know, leaving the volatility and the instability at these prices behind, and getting to that next level, working our way to SAC prices, and you know, sitting at SAC price for a minute, being volatile up there and at a new higher lows as time goes on, and working our way to the magic zone of where if you can hold, you know, you'll be all right. But if you can't, you know, you're going to sell your future possibly. That's what I really believe. So in my time frames, you've been watching me all the time. Smash the like button if you're here, by the way. We have prepared for this moment. And it's time to embrace it, right? It's time to soak it in and say, I made it. Thomas G has been talking about we're going to be here right now, and we're here. So hear me out when I say these next few weeks, you know, heading into the early part of July is the opportunity that was destined, that was set in stone. If you saw it coming, was set in stone in my mind and my brain. and it's here. And now I have to do everything I can to not only accumulate my eHEX and my HEX, but stick to my core foundation of what I degen in as far as the altcoins on PulseChain, because I support the ecosystem. So I am buying altcoins that support the ecosystem. That's why I love OG Web Chef, right? Supports the ecosystem, and a great deal of volume has been a huge compliment to PulseChain, right? So let's see PulseX. Right, we said how long did that did? Yeah, I've been saying it. We got to touch here again below. 4 zeros and a 1. That's a 50% dip for me. Hey, if we get it, we get it. I'm just saying it could happen. But right now, I think we go a little bit lower. All right. We'll see. I'm comfortable buying everything right now from this point on into early July. Just going to DCA. Goes lower. Boom. Let me eat. It's better than me going on camera, right? Like a lot of people have, getting super caught up in the hype the past few months and are like, time to buy, you're going to miss the boat. Like telling all their followers, like, you're going to get left behind. And they were a part of a big pump scenario, and then it dumped. Could have timed it better by just timing the market and being in crypto for a long time. I think people get caught up with influence. You forget, bro. I used to have the 30,000 subscribers, a ton of people on Twitter. I threw it all away. I deleted it. Right? None of that mattered to me. But the people that actually get the respect of PulseChain, like we'll use Crypto Coffee, right? I remember he had an itty-bitty channel. When I was at the top of my game with subscribers, he had like 7K subscribers. But he's come up. Like, you don't ever talk about, the time and place to get in. He's just like, I'm super bullish on this, and Hex is great. And he's like an onboarding tool at any given time. He doesn't so much as time anything. I don't even understand, like, I don't even know if he ever made money. I always showed it on camera when I made a ton of money. Like, people were following my wallets. They watched that wallet make millions, lose hundreds of thousands. It's all been public. But only God knows what these guys own. And they got a lot of followers, but I think a lot of their followers get the wrong idea. And it's like over bullish, over excited. It's like, no, kick back, bro. You can buy it later, cheaper. Would you tell your best friend or your family members to go buy a car for $45,000 that they want right now because you're super excited about it and you think it's the best car and they're going to go up? Or would you feel better if you were like, hey, wait a few months, there's going to be a banger special going into the holidays, things are going to go down globally, markets and all that good stuff, and you can buy that $45,000 car that you would get right now today for half off? It feels better doing the half off, right? So the Eros plan is not just the coin and TitanX index. What? I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. we're talking about Hex. Wait, what? I'll have to read that later. It flew over my head. Facts. They wasn't there for the dog pound. Yeah, OG right here, DeFi Ds. So, I've been doing this a long time. I've had a lot of time in the market, and I just see these things. See them from a mile away, right? I've taken a lot of losses. I ain't perfect, but I've been in these streets for a long time, and it's been rough. So it's hard to be confident during a time like this, but I am confident in buying cheap, right? Doesn't matter what it is, bro. People like discounts. All right. I did sales for a long time. Cold caller. Always was told, you got a cold mouthpiece, boy. I literally could close anybody, and there would be people on the sales floor that just couldn't buy a deal, right? And they'd get hung up on. And I would call that same person, be like, give me your sheet. Give me that paper. Give me that paper right there. We call from a stack of sheets back in the day. And then it got all digital. call the person up, and just boom, close it. I just would just know how to go in. I had the experience. I had the, the hustle, the grind, the voice, the hype, all that stuff. But ultimately what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm not a newbie to this. I can do what other people can't do. And that's how I always was. And when I leave that job, I go to a new one, outsell the number one rep every time. So these dudes out here that don't know anything, I've always run laps on them. And I never brag about it, never say anything, but I'm just telling you, like, it's funny to me, the HEX influencers out here today, they got a lot of hype, they got the followers and all that. Like, bro, they're not out there preaching the word the way it should be, man. Like, buy your stuff for cheaper. Buy it for cheaper. You don't have to spend all that money on a core token when it's in a cycle. Altcoins, that's different. You can get rich or wrecked real quick, right? Things happen and change in a New York minute. That's the part of the altcoin. But when you got a core blue chip system in your ecosystem, like HEX, eHEX, Pulse, and Ink, and PulseX, there's a way to play it right. And waiting was the way. I've been learning how to trade lately. It's a blessing being able to read the charts now. That is a beautiful thing. Always appreciate your transparency. Thank you. Thank you. Keep working hard. Keep working on your craft every day. Never feel like you peaked out. Always learn something every single day. And when you get bucked off the horse, or you hit the ground, Chantel, hit the ground running, because we're always going to hit the ground. Just hit the ground running, learn from your mistakes, and just keep on going. You'll get better and better and better and better. And you're never going to run out of room for improvement in crypto and experience. So just remember that. Anyways, guys, don't forget to pound the like button. Drop a comment. Always good stuff here. Appreciate you. Yeah, brother. Till next time, we'll do it again. Yeah, dog.
I wake up in the morning, telegram in hand, heart to our community, the coolest in the land. Cheese cream drops a joke, got me laughing loud. Then I start to scroll down through the daily crowd. Who's the OG printer, lighting up the zone? Is it Dama Beast or Sav on the throne? Or maybe it's Friday, Flexmas is here. Time to throw some gains and flex without fear. I toss out some questions, looking for the signs. Inside fixes ready, dropping out for lines. I keep on reading, can't look away. Those spicy emojis make my whole day. Then someone yells exit, get off PulseChain, but I ride the waves through pleasure and pain. I live in a limbo of hope and despair, but we're all in this boat and I'm proud to be there. Yeah, I might end up wrecked, burned by the flame, but I'm with the best crew in this wild DeFi game. I might end up wrecked, burned by the flame, but I'm with the best crew in this wild DeFi